Right now on the National Weather Desk, war on water. People in Utah are fighting to keep melting snow out of their homes.
I'm going to make a big, huge wall if I have to.
This is spring. May snowfall blankets some parts of the nation, including West Virginia.
Getting the right attitude for snow on May 3rd might have been a little bit tougher.
Wildfires in your health. The risks continue long after the flames have been put out.
I think it's starting to be a wake-up call.
Bear encounters. As more people come face to face with bears, we have advice on what to do if it happens to you.
They just kind of looking for something to eat and they just leave.
And a landspout touches down in Maine. How it's different from a tornado.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Angela Brown. Landslides, sinkholes, and water bubbling up from the ground are now daily problems in parts of Utah. As mountain snow continues to melt, people living in the valleys are doing everything they can to keep the water out of their homes. Paul Nielsen is in Summit County east of Salt Lake City with details.
Joanne Studebaker has a makeshift canal in her driveway, channeling away the water that should not be running through her backyard.
I'm not worried because we've got more sandbags we can go grab. I'm going to make a big, huge wall if I have to.
It seems like everywhere you look around Park City, water is just seeping out of the ground. Over on Cutter Lane, James Jennings has to clear flooding from his crawl space.
It's got to be all the snow because it's coming up from the ground. It's not flowing into the house.
Dana Jones lives in Wanship, and she's getting more sandbags to deal with the groundwater flooding.
There's a low spot in my basement that seems to be seeping water, and I can see where it's coming in from outside the house.
Since Saturday, Summit County has had problems with landslides. Summit County Director of Emergency Management, Catherine McMullen, says they have to track soil moisture and try to predict ground movement. For now, McMullen says they don't have any reason to believe that ground movement is imminent, but she says they have the resources ready to go.
And now to West Virginia, and a fairly rare sight for this time of the year. We're talking about snow in the eastern mountains Tuesday and Wednesday. Reporter Bob Aaron takes us on a chilly journey through snow-covered mountains.
When it came to snow in West Virginia on Wednesday, it was all about the altitude. Getting the right attitude for snow on May 3rd might have been a little bit tougher. The state's higher elevation saw a total of more than a foot of snow Tuesday and Wednesday. May snows are not unheard of, but the two-day event with this much snow surprised people. Snowshoes camera caught this ski resort snowfall. It also cut tourist traffic on the scenic highway, which doesn't get plowed, and at the Cranberry Glades Nature Center.
It does slow down the visitors. A lot of people come here to go to the Glades or the Highland Scenic Highway, and right now both of those roads aren't very passable. In fact, the main road from Richwood was pretty slick when I came up here this morning. The snow coat left some beautiful scenery, but the two-day dose of snow still was not very spring-like. The higher you went, the higher the snow.
And another case of wild weather. This time a landspout touched down in western Maine yesterday. It's similar to a tornado, but there are some differences. Meteorologist Ryan Munn takes a look at the damage it left behind and the difference between a tornado and a landspout.
While the landspout is typically weaker than a tornado, it was strong enough to cause some minor damage. It damaged trees to the area as well as some buildings like sheds. Scott Mitchell was outside when he saw the landspout coming right at him.
Well, I turned and tried to run. Well, I'm 84 years old. I don't run very good anymore.
Thankfully, it went around his house, though it did flip one of his sheds, and that was holding his bee supplies. A landspout is formed from the ground up, and it's a cold air funnel, and that is the reason that it's not typically found in a summertime thunderstorm. The temperature contrast can lead to a formation if it reaches the ground, and that's when it is officially considered a landspout. Now, the National Weather Service did report that the maximum sustained winds with this landspout was right around 55 miles per hour, and this is a very, very rare phenomenon, so it could be a little while before we see another one.
Well, this year's fire season could be challenging out west following an exceptionally wet winter. Here's why. Agriculture experts say the rain has increased plant growth, but as grass dries, it could become the perfect fuel for fires. CAL FIRE is warning folks in California to be cautious moving into the warmer months, but this advice really could apply to anyone facing wildfire season. Experts recommend taking common sense measures when you're around taller grass. For example, avoiding activities like mowing during peak heat, because all it takes is one spark to ignite a fire.
Those grasses are going to dry out, even though the winter was extremely wet. They will dry out, and so come the summer months, those fuels will be ready to burn. And so there is the possibility that we could see some more fire activity, specifically sort of on the valley floor and in lower foothills where the grasses are really dominant.
Well, weather experts say peak fire season is expected to be around August and September. People are the cause of 95% of fires. To prepare, CAL FIRE planes and helicopters are taking to the skies over California this week, but there is no fire right now. Mason Carroll reports that CAL FIRE and the U.S. Forest Service were training new aerial firefighters for the upcoming fire season.
A highly important position to have the aerial supervision.
Taylor Farrington has been fighting fires for the U.S. Forest Service for more than 20 years. But this year will be the first time he's taking the fight from the pilot seat. This training program draws firefighters from all over the country, and they just finished a week of classroom training in Sacramento before jumping in the cockpit in Redding.
And then we come up here and move forward with getting into the actual real aircraft.
And out here in the field is where the students are really able to put those skills to the test.
The students are out here learning how to become basically air traffic controllers over the fire. They are in charge of all the aircraft over the incident.
Bo Tipton is a fire captain at the Redding Air Attack Base and is overseeing the training. He says this training is needed because there is a shortage of aerial firefighters.
We're actually really short-handed around the state right now. It's important to get these folks through and get them going. These folks will go out and staff those aircraft and help out.
After this week, the trainees will fly with supervisors on real fires before they're able to fly alone. Barrington says they will be ready and there for the public this fire season.
We love what we do, and we enjoy the support of the public, and we're here for the communities and the states and the nation.
When wildfires rage, sometimes the smoke and haze can travel clear across the country. Experts say the smoke puts us all at risk. Steve McCarran uncovers the worsening data and the work behind the scenes to help you breathe easier.
A study from the Scripps Institution of Oceanography at UC San Diego found fine particulates from wildfire smoke can be several times more harmful to our health than things like car exhaust.
We have these big smoke events that come through for a week or two, and as soon as they're gone, people really want to forget about it instead of preparing for the next fire that comes through.
Devlin says part of that preparation involves knowing the risk. This map shows the more than 4,000 air quality monitoring stations that are owned and operated mainly by state environmental agencies across the country. You'll notice each one has a number that ranges from 0 to 500 and 6 color-coded categories that correspond to different levels of health concern. The higher the number, the bigger the concern. Researchers at Stanford University found the number of people experiencing an extreme smoke day increased 27-fold over the past decade, with nearly 25 million people across the lower 48 affected by dangerous smoke in 2020 alone.
It is clear that we are seeing a pattern.
Washington State's Lands Commissioner says one of the best ways to reduce the risk of these extremely smoky days is to attack wildfires quickly and stop them from growing so rapidly. That takes a lot of money. Something she has made a big focus in recent years is shareable resources between states like helicopters and planes become harder to get during long, intense wildfire seasons.
Drone technology is taking off to combat mosquitoes in California. More mosquitoes are expected this year after an unprecedented rainy winter. The prime season for the insects just began. Mosquitoes lay their eggs in standing water, which then hatch larvae. The officials will use drones for applying larvicide in non-residential areas. Experts say once mosquitoes are adults, they are difficult to control. And we will be right back.
I'm meteorologist Charlie Lopresti will look at the Northeast. Cool, wet, and raw. That has been the rule in the Northeast over the last couple of days, and that's going to be the rule today as well. Look for cloudy skies, perhaps a few showers, maybe a hint of drizzle out there. It's going to stay seasonably cool right into and through our Friday. Notice Friday 40s and 50s returning. This is 1 o'clock in the afternoon. The payoff day is going to be Saturday. Look for a lot of sunshine that day, and temperatures look seasonable to seasonably mild. Mid to upper 60s make an appearance.
I'm meteorologist Jonathan Myers, and here's a look at the Mid-Atlantic region. A chilly start up and down the 95 corridor, but a little bit of limited sunshine perhaps to begin during the afternoon. Our latest weather maker continues to provide those popcorn showers like day after day after day. Thursday will be no different. Some spot showers here and there to impact your afternoon commuting. Should diminish overnight. Maybe a bit of a drier day on the way for Friday, but cool 50s to near 60 today. That's the scene here.
I'm meteorologist Vitas Reed. Here's a look at your southeast forecast highs for the day. It looks like we're seeing those temperatures mid-70s from Atlanta over towards Birmingham, 77 degrees, 74 in Charleston, 79 Pensacola, 88 in Tampa, 84 West Palm. Looks like plenty of sunshine still holding on to mainly dry conditions for the southeast. Georgia looking pretty good. The Carolinas, a few storms moving in towards Memphis through the overnight. There could be a little rain along parts of the Mississippi Delta.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
The devil's in the details, so the saying goes, or maybe the dust. Like this impressive dust devil spotted in Marion, Montana just days ago. Also in Montana, temperatures are up, so's the surf in downtown Missoula. These river surfers taking to a spot called Brennan's Wave. Kayakers also ride this popular man-made wave along the Clark Fork River.
For more content like this, like the National Weather Desk on Facebook.
In Ohio, a farm is hoping some of its crops will be okay after a recent hailstorm nearly decimated their strawberries and other plants. Terry Sullivan has the story from Plain City, which is a 30-minute drive northwest of Columbus.
Right here. You'd never think that this peaceful scene in Plain City was nearly pulverized by hail the size of jawbreakers. This Facebook post for Mitchell's Berries and Blooms says it all.
Daffodils destroyed. Daffodil season is over. Peonies 75% destroyed. Strawberries don't look good.
Owner Shelley Detweiler says in their 12-plus years here,
we've never had hail like that. My parents live right over there. They said they've never seen hail like that. Farmer Paul, my husband, he went straight to the strawberries to look at them. Strawberries are our bread and butter. They just got chopped off.
What he found wasn't pretty.
When strawberries start to grow and have baby strawberries, they shoot out a little shoot with a blossom, and lots of those were chopped right off.
Detweiler says it's now a waiting game to see if things bounce back, especially the strawberries. Their focus now, other events that will bring people to the farm. Plus, asparagus season is just around the corner, and hopefully a field of buried treasure.
Hopefully we'll have some strawberries. Hopefully the raspberries will do okay. They look okay.
And sometimes, okay is a good thing.
And you may be wondering when you can start planting your own garden at home without fear of cold temperatures. Well, you might want to wait a little bit longer. Despite the well-known phrase, April showers bring May flowers, that doesn't seem to be the case for everyone this year. Much of the country has seen colder than average temperatures recently, especially in the Northeast. We spoke to a nursery worker who says it's still a little bit too early to plant because of frost concerns.
Well, if they wanted to buy now and keep it inside during the cold evenings, put it out during the day, that's okay. If they want to buy it and plant it right away, they should wait until, around Memorial Day.
And some experts recommend gardeners start planting after the last full moon of May, as that's typically the last chance for frost. One area that isn't plant ready and still dealing with cold weather is West Virginia. As we mentioned earlier, portions of the state were hit with snow, hail, and something called graupel earlier this week. Graupel is fairly common, but less understood than snow or even hail. So let's head to Charleston meteorologist Brandon Stover to get a better understanding of graupel.
So graupel's interesting. It's not actually hail coming down there. It is graupel. It's basically where snow is falling down from the cloud. That snow falls through a layer of super cold water droplets, which are droplets that are below 32 degrees or at 32 degrees, but they're still in their liquid form. So the super cold droplets there, they're freezing on contact with whatever they come in contact with. So they're coming in contact with the snowflake. Those super cool droplets freeze on contact with the snowflake. And notice how the snowflake is basically just becoming this white pellet as it comes down to the ground. But unlike hail here, graupel is a lot more crushable. You can pretty much crush it up very easily. Hail's usually very solid, so that's how you can tell the difference. It's a little hard to tell the difference, though, from the naked eye. Some wicked weather here in West Virginia as we start the month of May. I'm meteorologist Brandon Lawson.
And now let's take a look at this video that was sent to us by a viewer via Chime In. And that was a bear destroying and sounded like eating one of the outdoor cameras on that viewer's home. And in several parts of the country, bear sightings are becoming more and more common. Hibernation season is coming to an end, and conservation efforts have helped increase population. As Gabrielle Caracciolo reports from Providence, Rhode Island, there are some things you want to bear in mind in case you encounter one of these giants.
Bears are coming out of hibernation and roaming onto some people's porches. This American black bear was caught on camera in Hope Valley.
I hope that people enjoy seeing them. You know, they're absolutely beautiful animals.
The Rhode Island Department of Environmental Management says the bears are just looking for food.
Around people's homes, we advise that they secure any food source that might bring a bear in or attract a bear, like cat food, bird seed, you know, your garbage is a big one, even an uncleaned grill, and sometimes compost piles, all that kind of stuff.
Over the last several years, the state's averaged around 120 bear sightings, typically starting in the spring.
Their populations are growing in Massachusetts and in Connecticut, and so as the populations grow, we will get more and more bears. We're pretty sure that our bears here are primarily passing through.
Gotta go somewhere. They're just looking for food.
Hopkinton residents aren't fazed by the sightings.
I don't think they're going to bother you. They're not going to chase you down. I don't think they're very vicious. They just kind of looking for something to eat and they just leave.
DEM says there's no cause for concern, but sightings can be reported to its Division of Law Enforcement.
Bear passing through your backyard, not a bad thing. We just don't want them to stop and eat something that you've accidentally provided.
Well, spring doesn't just bring the bears, but also the risk of tornadoes and hurricanes with changing temperatures. The official hurricane season is less than a month away, and this week is Hurricane Preparedness Week, a time you can use to prepare your home and also your family for the upcoming season. Meteorologist Jennifer Collins joins us from West Palm Beach to explain how to get moving before a storm.
If a storm is expected to impact your area, put your hurricane plan in motion immediately. You should already have disaster supplies and an evacuation plan made before the hurricane season. Protect your home when a storm threatens your area. Board up windows, secure doors and loose items, and move your vehicle to a safe location if it's not used to evacuate. Unplug electrical equipment like TVs, light fixtures, and appliances. And determine sheltering options and consider your pets. Check with local officials to find out what shelter spaces are available and have multiple options to go to. And ready your go bags. In addition to those basic survival needs, don't forget other supplies such as chargers, medicine, and hygiene products, and plan to have enough for at least 3 days. Your go bag should also contain important personal and property documents, including your written communication plan. And don't forget to keep your phone charged and make sure to fill up or charge your vehicle as well. And of course, help your neighbors, especially the elderly and other vulnerable people. Always follow evacuation orders from local authorities and don't wait for a hurricane to intensify before deciding to go.
And now as we head to break, it's time to take to the sky. Today we soar over the soybean fields of Oregon.
Well, a very good Thursday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buck-Michael. We got some rain starting to move its way back into the south here, the southwest part of the Midwest. That would be Kansas. As far as the Ohio Valley, finally starting to get some drier air to move its way back in. The rain, though, starting to move its way across the plains for your Friday. Most of us are in the 70s, a little cooler there to the far north in Green Bay, 59 tomorrow. However, temperatures still staying on the mild side with more of those scattered showers and storms moving north and east Saturday.
Good morning, I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. Here's a look at your regional weather. We're waking up pretty nice. Lots of cloud cover down to the south, 70s and 60s there. A few showers back on up toward Oklahoma with a little thunderstorm here and there. We'll be watching this dry line as it moves eastward today in a warm front. That'll be the focusing mechanism for some pretty big thunderstorms from Oklahoma all the way down into Texas. Otherwise, temperatures will be warming up into the 80s and 70s. I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. That's a look at your regional weather.
Well, hi there and a good Thursday morning to everybody. I'm meteorologist Shannon O'Donnell. Unusual weather out west. We've had an issue with ongoing thunderstorms in the Pacific Northwest of late. Today getting back to a more normal 60 out of Puget Sound and staying in the 50s because of this next weather maker dropping down the coast of California. Some heavy rain back into LA. You can see some of the snow showers outside of Vegas in the higher terrain into Utah tonight. And that's the scene from here.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
Recently in California, the CDFW, NOAA, and the Winnemem Wintu tribe convened along the McCloud River with one goal in mind: bringing wild salmon back to local waterways. Ever since the Shasta Dam was built in 1945, the presence of salmon north of the lake has not been the same. And as Preston Danian reports from Redding, the return of wild salmon is the ultimate goal.
Ever since Shasta Dam was built in 1945, the presence of salmon north of the lake hasn't been the same. Hatchery efforts have provided fish to these reaches, but the return of wild salmon has long been a prayer of the Winnemem Wintu people. I spoke with the tribe's chief about the agreement, who says what happens to the fish happens to them as well.
And that it gives us actual say-so to intervene and to share what we think is good for fish.
Sisk views this landmark agreement as one step in a larger process of restoring waterways across the state and beyond back to their healthy wild origins.
We love to connect with you and find us on your favorite social media platforms. Just search the National Weather Desk or scan the QR code on the bottom left of your screen. We'll be right back. And thank you so much for joining us. Tomorrow on the National Weather Desk, we'll take a look back at a century of Coronation Day weather as the world readies for Saturday's big event. I'm Angela Brown. Make it a great Thursday, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow.